Hi Flosstube, it's Lori McCleary, Texstylust. Welcome to my channel. Hi Flosstubies, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is my first video of 2026. The last one was on New Year's Eve. So I have a lot to catch you up on, and then I'm going to share what I've been stitching, some finds, some finishes, and then I'm going to do a WIP parade. I haven't done a WIP parade in quite a long time. Or I should say, I haven't done a full WIP parade in a long time, about 2 years, I think. I think I did one near the end of 2024 or beginning of 2025, but it was kind of a modified WIP parade. So this is going to be everything. And as I go through it, I'm actually going to be pulling things out. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But let me catch you up on what I've been stitching on. And I have a find that I want to share with you. And I have a fully finished sort of, basically I have a frame. So we'll start with that. I finished at the end of 2025. I finished my Rose Quaker sampler and I ordered a frame, and I have the frame, and it's mostly stretched but not completely penned and put in place. So you'll see it's not completely done, but here it is. She's a big girl, and I really like the frame that I chose. I originally picked one that was exactly the same but was mostly all this dark color, but because there's so much taupe in this particular stitch, I thought maybe the lighter dark would be better. But it's beautiful. I love how it looks. And I think this is the one I'm going to use, where I'm going to show you how I use the Wonder Clips to kind of do the spacing around mine. You can see this is a pretty tight to the frame. I like about 1/4 inch, give or take. And I just have this popped in here. It's not stretched or anything yet. So I will use this one when I do that video, hopefully in the next week or so. But here it is, Rose Quaker sampler, and I just love it. I haven't decided which room she's going to go in yet, but I imagine she's going to be doing room hopping depending on however I'm decorating at the moment. So very pleased with that. And then, sorry, hair everywhere. I don't know what I was looking for. I don't remember what I was looking for, but I was looking for something. Oh, I had a notification on eBay for one of my searches that, for Blackbird designs that had popped up. And it wasn't really what I was looking for, but kind of, off to the side or whatever it was. It showed something, and I kind of locked in on it. It's like, oh, I need to check that out. So, I went and looked closer, and then I had to do, the big search of all the different sites and everything to find what I was looking for. But what they are, these are antique, they're cast iron antique candle holders. And they just, you ever have anything that you see it and it just like grabs you right by the feels? These did that. But they're very beautiful. They're from the early 20s, so about 100 years old. When I was researching and looking at all the different ones, several of them may have had like, tip broken off or the paint was all gone. This pair was in really, really good condition. They were not exceptionally expensive, probably more than I would have spent on a pair of candlesticks just in general, but these are very special. Looks like these were done in 1921. There's the markings, the cast markings, and I'm so thrilled with these, and I cannot wait for next season to put my bayberry candles in these. So I just thought I would share those with you. There was a lot to choose from. Usually they were in singles, they weren't in pairs. This one was in a pair, and yeah, I'm really glad I got those. So they're going to get put away and till next season. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about what I've been stitching on since the New Year's Eve video. And I'll start with my one red thread, although it's not red, it's pink. And it's also my blessing sampler. And that is the French Rosé Marie Vallée. And it's interesting, I think there's at least 3 other people who chose this for their blessing sampler as well. So it was a perfect size for that. Here is my progress. I am doing it on the 40 count called for, actually I think it calls for 46 count or 40. It calls for a different count. I'm doing it on 40 count. Small Potatoes by Lap and Loops, and I'm using the called for, let's see, where's my, not sure where the floss went, but it's flamingo. It's a silk, and it's flamingo. So after I started stitching on it a couple days, I realized I was not going to be able to meet the end of January deadline, but just doing 1 strand a day. So I have been doing 2 strands a day, and I think I will finish in plenty of time. And again, that is Marie Vallée. This little miss decided she needed to be in Mama's lap, so she's, say hi, Tilly. She's getting big. It looks like she's gotten huge, but that's all fluff. She probably weighs 2.5 pounds soaking wet. That's literally all fur. She's still a pretty tiny kitty. She's about 6 months old now, I think. And just the terror of the household. Most of the time we call her Tiger Tilly. That's when she's being sweet. Her sister, Kitty, calls her Tilly the Turd because she is usually harassing her. So, but anyway, back to stitching. The next thing I put some time in on this month, and I still have a little bit more work to do, is Real Comfort by Plum Street Paulette. And I restarted it because of the linen count. I loved the linen it was on. I had started stitching it on Dusty Road by Seraphim. It was a 36 count, beautiful linen, colors looked great, but I just really wasn't happy with the 36. So I have restarted it on the called for color, but on a 40 count. So this is on 40 count Saltbush. I had a 36 count Saltbush, but it was way more green than this. This is the Saltbush color that I like, where it's more of the gray. And I started it in the middle middle top, instead of starting it on the upper left, which is my normal. I have probably 2 more stitching sessions to get what I want to get done this month. I have it divided up into 9 months so that I can have this framed and displayed hopefully by middle to late fall. Using the called for floss, which is beautiful, and I just love these colors. So I've been putting some good time in on that, and I will probably have some more to share with you at the next video on this one. The next one that I have been putting a lot of time in on, my goal was to get it to where whatever was left was fill in, and I think I probably had maybe 35% done, and now I'm probably up to 75%. So I've really put in some time, and that is my Winter Rose Manor. And I am stitching this on a 40 count over dye. I took platinum and I over dyed it, so it's not as dark as the called for, but I really do love it. I mean, the basket is a little shadowy, and I may choose to do some more modeling or something around it, but I love it. It's gorgeous, and what I have left to do is to fill in this part of the border, fill in the house, and then do the snow down here, which I keep looking at it thinking I might not even put in the snow. I might leave that the way it is, but I'll make that decision when I get there. But now it's to a place where I can take it when I go to my stitchy groups, and I can just do fill in. So it's really close to done, and I'm really thrilled with the fact that that one is close to done, and I will probably get it framed. Actually, I'll probably take it in this week when I go to Stitchy Group and see if I can pick out a frame and get it framed and up before spring comes. So that is something I've been working on. I did put a little bit more time into the Wonderful Life Pancake Drum. I'm doing this with my friend Merritt Crawford. As I mentioned in my last video, I had a lot of unstitching to do. And I did get all that pulled out and restitched, but I haven't got quite it all restitched to where I was, but this is where I'm at. I am going to spend some significant time on it tomorrow, which would be the 25th, and I'll probably put in a couple 3 hours on this and see if I can get further. My goal is to get the border done all the way over to the house, and then I'm going to drop down and I'm going to outline and start the house. That's kind of how I like to do things, and I'll probably go back and do the lettering later. The next thing I put some time in on is my Christmas sampler. This is another one that I have broken up into assignments, so to speak, broken up into smaller parts. And I had completed that part in December, and then what my assignment was a C for January, and I completed that on the 1st of January. And that's where we're at, and it's gorgeous. Usually what I do is I stitch my letter, and then whatever thread I have left over, I will carry over to my next assignment. Sometimes it makes the next assignment really short, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't like to have to put the thread back on the ring or leave it in the stitch, but I'm loving that. There's a couple of you out there who are stitching that with me as well. Please make sure that if you post yours on Instagram that you tag me so I can see how you're doing. But I'm super excited to complete that. It's gorgeous. I'm doing this on a 40 count, actually a 36 count fog, picture this plus, and I'm doing that with the called for DMC colors. The next one that I put some significant time into is also an assignment stitch, a sal that I'm doing with my Stitchy Peeps, the Stitch Magnolias. And it is the Christmas 9 patch by Shakespeare's Peddler. And our goal was to get this first block done by the end of January. I actually got it done, I think either I got it done on the 1st or the 2nd of January. So I was ahead of the game. I was feeling really good about it. And I also put in a couple stitches off into February's month because again I was finishing up the thread that I had. And I am stitching mine. Here it is. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, that would be such a pretty pin pillow all by itself. I'm stitching mine on a 40 count Cedar River linen Albarium, which is one of my favorite linens. I just love this color. And I'm using the called for floss. There's a good chunk of floss that are a good amount of colors that go into this, but a lot of them are DMC. So I have that little bit. In fact, I'm going to be working on this. I'm going to get a head start this weekend maybe, or definitely this coming week after I get my assignment done for Real Comfort, because February is a short month, and that is a stitch heavy block that's coming up. That's a lot of fill in, so I want to maybe get a head start on that assignment so that it's done by the end of February. And the last one that I started this on the 1st of January as well. I talked about it in my New Year's Eve video, is 'Tis the Season. This is a Blackbird design out of the book, I believe, Home for the Holidays. And a lot of people have stitched this, and a lot of people have just started stitching it too. It is that classic. I think when I talked about this on New Year's Eve, I misstated the linen that I'm using. This is actually a 40 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Cedar Plank. I had said it was Tundra, but this is actually Cedar Plank. This is the start that I have. I love the colors on this linen, and I am doing it in the silks. I had all of these silks already from other projects, so it was really handy that, you know, it's really not going to take a lot of these. These are 12 strand, mostly Belle Soise. And I'm probably going to put some stitches on this coming in February. I'm just going to keep working away on this. So that is what I have been working on stitch-wise. I do have a small knit project that I have worked on that I started, let's see, when did I start it? I think I started it a week and a half ago, and I haven't really, I got to a certain point and I've stopped because I need some help. So I think I've mentioned before that I'm a new knitter, and I've been new knitting for 2 or 3 years now. I still very, very novice, but the whole reason that I wanted to learn to knit was to make socks. And up until a week and a half ago or so, I had not started a sock. I'd started a sweater, I started a scarf, I'd restarted some scarves. I'm almost finished with a very large fold over poncho, but I got started on a sock. So here I am. These are just a plain vanilla sock. I am doing these in a DK weight. And what am I using here? I'm using City Tweed by Knit Picks, and I love this. It is so soft. It's not scratchy at all. I love the tweedy part of it. I love the weight. I love the color. And I'm at a point in this particular pair of socks where it's time to start the heel. So I kind of want to have my support system around me when I go to do that. I am doing these on 9-inch circulars. I believe for this one, they're a size 3 because of the weight. And I think I'm doing pretty good so far. It's looking good. I'm so excited about these. I have several skeins of like fingering weight or sock weight, general sock weight yarn to use. And I did do a lot of practice, I would say swatching or, you know, stitching just to see how I could do with these 9-inch circulars. And they're fine. And I won't mind using the finer weight, but those are not the kind of socks I generally wear. I generally wear, if I'm wearing socks, I'm wearing something heavy. So DK weight, I can see that I might even get some of the heavier bulky weight because it's cold here. If I'm wearing socks, it's because it's cold and I need something to keep my feet warm. In the summertime, very hot here, no socks, no shoes unless I have to. And then I'm usually wearing like my Birkenstocks or something. So super excited to get here, and hopefully by next video I'll have a little bit more progress to show you on those. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to share. That's just my general Flosstube. So I covered what I've been stitching on, covered a finish, covered a little bit of haul, and I think we're good to go. So I'm going to pause here and put some things away, and then we're going to get started on the WIP parade. Okay, before we get started, just wanted to say why I'm still here on the floor in my living room. Normally, this is my spot for Vlogmas, and when I'm not doing Vlogmas, I am in my other what I call my cross stitch room, and I have a different stuff behind me, but it's very cold here, very, very cold. It was 17 degrees when I got up, and of course I have the fire going, and I need to kind of keep on top of the fire while it's this cold, and that involves kind of watching it. So it's right over there. So that's one reason that I'm here. The lighting is good today. It's very bright out. Which is great for showing projects, not as flattering for everything else, but that's okay. Let's see. So before I get started, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I haven't done a full WIP parade, I think, in 2 years. So I have a lot of WIPs. I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. However, I am going to, as we go through them, I'm going to pull some things out of what I would call my WIP section, and I'm going to put it into my kit section. And maybe I would just call them, ready to go kits. So I have a lot of kits, things from many years in different clubs for like Dying to Stitch and Country Sampler. So I have general things that are kitted, and then there's things that I've kitted up as well. But I know I have a number of things that whether it was like mania starts, or I was going through a sampler phase of starting all the samplers, where I really don't have more than maybe 1, 2, or 3 lengths of thread put in. And I know that I'm not going to get to them for a while. So I'm really not going to consider those WIPs anymore. I used to consider anything that had 2 or 3 stitches in it a WIP. But a WIP means it's work in progress. And if it's been sitting in a bag for 2 or 3 years and I haven't done anything, that's really not anything in progress. It's still something that's just kitted up. So I'm going to, as we go through, I'm going to set those aside, and then at the end I'll kind of give you a count of my WIPs. But I will say, buckle up, get yourself something to drink, pull out your stitching or whatever. This is going to be a long video because I do have quite a few, and it's going to be fun. I'm not going to show these in any really particular order. It's just how I'm pulling them out of my box. I will show you, I keep my bags, and these are the IKEA, they're fabric. You buy them flat, you zip them up. They're very sturdy. You can fit, oh gosh, I probably have 50 in there. No kidding, a lot. If they're a sewn project bag, they take up more room, but if they're one of these like Amazon bags, they don't take up as much room. But this is what I keep my bags in, of things that I'm not stitching on, and it works really well. And I have an IKEA shelf in my cross stitch room where I keep these, and then I do have tags on the front of them, which I have to redo now. I do have tags so I know what is in what. Okay, I'm going to start with my work basket. These are things that have been in my basket probably at the end of December through now. I really haven't gone through it and pulled things out, but it's as I said, these are not going to be in any particular order as I've done previous WIP parades. Okay, the first one, I have several, oops, sorry, just batted myself in the face. I have several in this. They're all Stacy Nash, and they are all, I think all of these are from this year's Jingle Ball and last year's Jingle Ball. So the first one is the little gingerbread boy. He is in here. Let's see, do I have him? Yeah, gingerbread. And I have him started. And this is one of my projects where I'm probably going to sit down and spend a day and knock them out, simply, well, for 2 reasons. I want to free up the floss, and I want to free up the room. So if they're really tiny, and this one is really tiny, I'd say this is an hour or 2 stitch. I don't know. I will probably get that one done. The other one I have in here is my gingerbread house sewing book. In all things considered, I am relatively close to a finish. I don't remember how much percentage I would say. Well, here it is. Let's look. I would say I am 40%, 35 to 40% done. I know I need to go and unstitch all of this fill in because I am 1 stitch too much, and I don't know that I want to try to fudge that. But I have these both in the same bag because they use similar or same flosses. And here's the flosses, you know, the wonderful Stacy Nash collection. And I also have an animal cracker in here. So this actually is considered a kit because I haven't started it yet at all. But I do have all of the things to do that. So that's a Stacy Nash bag, and that's going to probably stay in my work basket, at least to get the little gingerbread man done. Oh, and I also wanted to warn you, I will try to keep the zipping and unzipping to a minimum and the crackling, and I'll edit it as best I can, but there's going to be zipping and unzipping. So if you're listening with headphones, just be warned. It's kind of hard to get away from that. Okay, the next one that is in the WIP pile is Scarlet House Sleigh Rides and Snowflakes. And I am doing this on a Picture This Plus Bramble. And it is gorgeous. And I'm sorry, I guess we're kind of getting a little blown out here with the light. But that's not too far from the colors. And I am doing this with the called for floss. And I may just pause here in a minute and close some blinds to see if we can get some better lining. It is a bright blue sky out there, and the sun is reflecting off the snow and everything. So yeah, things are going to get a little bit blown out. The next one I'm going to share with you is a stitch that I started for my son, and I need to get it back into my rotation. I think I'm going to have to put a picture up here of what it is, but it is a Long Dog sampler, and it is the Knights Templar, and it's a large piece. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to iron everything. This is being done on a 46 count vintage. Is this one a tundra or cedar plank? I don't remember, but it's large and it's intricate. I have maybe 20 to 25% of it done. I'm using a Silks for You silk. I don't have the color with me right here, but if you want to, if there's information I don't have and you really want to know, definitely drop me a comment down below and I will get that information to you. But we've got a lot to go through, so I don't want to take the time to go figure it out. You'll see this one again probably next video, or if you want more information, you can look at my Instagram, which is also Texstylust, and you'll find it there. But I definitely need to get back to that one. I need to kind of reset my plans on that one, or my goals on that one, so that I can, I don't know if I'll get it finished this year, but we'll see. Okay, next one, we're gonna move through these rather quickly. The next one is Merry Christmas from Blackbird Designs. This is a Dying to Stitch kit. I think it's called something else now, but everybody has seen this. This is a beautiful drum. I started this on Christmas Day and I haven't done any more. And it's doing, since it was the kit, it's all on the original called for colors and original linen. Another one that I started during the Vlogmas season is Christmas at Holly House, and I am doing a change. I don't have all of my conversion, but I will tell you that I am doing the house in Cherry Cobbler. So as I work on this more, I will talk more about what the conversions are, because I may change my mind on a couple of them. And it's being done on a piece of, it's either 36 or 40 count Picture This Plus ale. And basically what I have, let me get this behind here. Basically what I have started is the bricks on the house. There we go. As I said, I'm not using all of the call for colors, but this is what is called for, plus the Cherry Cobbler. This is a Reflet de Soie. It's something I started as a birthday start when I turned 60 a couple years ago. This is Louisa Barney, 1892. And I am doing this on, this is Vintage Tundra. I am doing this on Vintage Tundra. I have this very small start here. This is not one I'm putting back in the kits. This is staying out. This is considered a WIP, and I do hope to get some stitching. I believe this is a 46, close to 50 count. I've talked about this before in my other Flosstubes, where it was a very tight linen, so that's kind of why it's been sitting there. I don't want to take these out because they'll be super crinkly, but I have all of the called for silks from Reflet de Soie. I may, when I sit down to work on this next, I may make a decision that I'm going to switch linens. I still want to do it on Vintage Tundra. I may decide that I want to find another piece that's either a true 46 or a piece of 40, but I don't know yet. But for right now, it's staying in my WIPs. Okay, so that is that's my work basket, and I'm going to put these away and get started on the next box. Okay, this next batch is roughly what I would call, well, I think most of these are fall, Halloween, and Christmas. Some of them you would have seen recently in my Vlogmas, but I'm going to show them anyway because I want to capture everything in this one video. So we're going to start with Christmas and probably work our way into fall and Halloween. So the next one is one that I did start during Vlogmas. I don't know, I don't think I have the picture of it because it was a PDF download. And this is one from Sally Humble Bumble Stitcher, and it's called Special Delivery. And this is what I have done on it. I think I have some more stitching. I was waiting for some floss, but I need to fill in the trees right here. I need to fill in the spools. And this part of the, it's like a hooswoof. So there's like 5 different pieces, and this is the main piece that's going to go on the main part, but I think there's like a strawberry and I think there's 5 other things, but that's what I have done. This is on an offcut of 40 count Silvery Moon, and these are all the called for flosses. I did get them eventually. I did a lot of ordering in December, trying to get things kitted up that I was going to be working on at the beginning of the year. But I have that done. And since it's really kind of winter themed, I might get some more done on it this season, but we'll see. Okay, the next one is Mary Bell sampler, and that is from Lori Rippey of I'm sorry for the glare, Homespun Prims by Lori. And I think this is on a 36 count Ren, if I recall correctly. Oh wait, I have it right here. Yep, 36 count Ren. Again, I'm sorry, it is kind of getting blown out. Not the best. When it's sunny like this, it's not the best lighting. There's a sweet spot when it's sunny, but right now it isn't one of them. And I am using the called for DMC. I really like those DMC colors. Okay, this one we're gonna have a conversation about. This is my Christmas garden. Blackbird design. Was a singular pattern, and then it came out in a book. And I have it from a book, so that's my working copy. Currently, I have this on a 40 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Pecan Butter, a very favorite color of a lot of people. It's not my favorite Lakeside, but it's up there. My favorites are Vintage Maple, Vintage Pearl Barley, and Meadow Rue, Vintage Meadow Rue. Those are my favorites. I did put some work on it during Vlogmas, and some of you are going to shoot me. I am seriously considering restarting this and restarting it on a different color. And the reason is that where I want to hang it, originally when I started this, the place I wanted to hang it, here's a better color representation. The place I wanted to hang it definitely had a lot more like colors like this. So like golds and autumnal and, you know, deep, rich colors. And so the colors I'm using are very Victorian. And I love them. I love them a lot. But where I want to hang it now, I don't know that I'm going to hang it here in the great room. I just don't. I'm thinking I want to hang it in my bedroom. And if I do, these colors are just not going to work. So I'm considering, I haven't made up my mind. I may not make up my mind until I pick it up again. But I was considering switching out my linen. This is a picture of this plus. And I think it is I don't remember. Oh, it's a vellum, which is one of my favorite Picture This Plus. So definitely a lot lighter. I mean, look at the difference here. Definitely a lot lighter. And I started stitching on it and I stopped. I mean, I was in love with the linen and I stopped because that green almost looks black on here, and I don't want that. I don't know if I'll be able to keep the other colors, but that green, which is beautiful, I love the green. It is Forest Glade, and it looks totally scrumptious and beautifully green on here. Does not look like that on here. So I stopped right away. I put it back in the bag, and I'm just going to have to think about it. So I have all of this in here. It's going to remain a WIP. I'm definitely doing it. This is one of 2 or 3 pieces where I know the reason I'm not working on them, even though they're pieces I really, really love and really want to have on my walls, is that there's something a little bit off, whether it's the linen, whether it's the floss, the count of the linen, whatever. And this is one of them that probably will get restarted. Just like I restarted Real Comfort. There was nothing wrong with the color of the linen. It was beautiful. The count of the linen was just off. And that's why I hadn't been working on it, even though it was definitely in my top 3 things that I wanted to have on the wall. So that's where this one is at. Tell me what you think. Okay, the next one I have to show you is, actually there's 2 in this bag, and one of them, again, I don't have the chart right here. I think I have it stuck in my put away charts. This is a Reindeer Feed Sack by Kathy Barrick, and this is being done on 28 count. I think it's tin roof of the check. I forgot what it was called. Anyway, so this is my start on that. I love that. And the other one I have in here, and I'm using the Call for Colors. Well, no, that's not true. I'm not using the Call for Colors. I think I did change one of them. So the colors I'm using are 3777 and 3865. Those are the only 2 colors. And then the other one that is sharing this bag is And Rudolph by La Di Da. And this is on a 36 count piece of Aspen. And I am doing it in the colors, DMC colors of 822 and 935. So those are definitely remaining in my WIP collection. I have a lot of Christmas. In fact, I'd say a good solid 30 to 35%, maybe even 40% of the WIPs that are there are Christmas. And that's because the last 2 Christmases, I just got tired of not having the ones that I wanted to work on started. So I started a lot. Okay, the next one, this is the other one, and I've talked about this one before, where I have a start on it. It's beautiful. It's on a lakeside, for heaven's sakes. This is Lakeside Light Exemplar. I wasn't sure, I think, the last time I showed it, but this is the Noel Sampler by With My Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. Let me pull out my, right here. And even on here, it kind of shows kind of a yellowish color. I think it was calling for Weeks Dye Works Parchment. But I love the one that's done on like a vintage cedar plank or a Weeks gray. I just think that it's so pretty, but I do have a good amount done on here. And like I said, it's on a lakeside. So I'm just torn about restarting it, but I know that that's the reason that I haven't been working on it, because I would really like to have this one done. I talked earlier about maybe stitching it twice. That's still on the table. Maybe finishing this and then seeing if I still want to do it on the other linen and maybe gifting it to my kids or whatever. I'm not sure. And then I'm doing it with the Call for DMC. It's a dilemma. I mean, if I go back to what I have decided for myself this year, which is just stitch on what I love, you know, if I'm not loving it, I'm not stitching on it. Okay, so this one, the last 2 years I said I really wanted to get it finished, and I still haven't because so many other things are sparkly and jump in the way. And that is Winter Wonderland by Blackbird Design. It's my working copy. I'm doing this on a Weeks Gray. I believe this is a 30 count, and I'm pretty close to done. It's very close. Let's see, how can I turn it? Maybe this way, that kind of gives you the better color. And I did decide when I was kitting this up to do it on the 30 count because I did want it to be of a good size, and it is. It's a perfect size, although I'm not a fan of 2/2 anymore. Even though I think I bought a primitive hair that's going to be 2/2. So again, I think I just need to buckle down and get that one done, get it off the list, and get it on my wall. The next one is a Merry Heart. This is one that I kitted up after seeing it finished on Christine Hollis Hand Creates on her wall. It is so pretty, and I kitted it up using the called for, and it's on a 36 count ale. I put a start in, not this year, but last year during Vlogmas. But it's a big enough start, and it's staying in my WIP pile. And as I said, I'm doing it with the call for colors. And look at those colors. Oh my gosh, look at those colors. So pretty. Still love it. Still going to get that one done and on the wall. Okie dokie. The next one was a start. Lisa Kendra Stitcher and I started. I think we did a start in November, if I recall correctly. And this is Samplers and Primitives is the name of the designer company, and it's the Noel Ornament Sampler. You can purchase these as PDF downloads. I just love that. Very Victorian. Lisa had posted that she was going to start it, and I said I had just kitted it up, so we decided to start it together. And here is my progress. It's very pretty. I was working my way down to get to that house. I was going right for dessert. And I love this. So it's probably not going to get worked on until we're back in the season, but definitely love that one. Sorry for the rattling. I have my Amazon bags. I have these, and it looks like, oh, here we go. The next one is Jenny Bean's Christmas Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. I started that Vlogmas before last, and I'm doing it on, I believe this is Weeks 36 count linen color. I think the color is called Linen. I really like, that's one of my favorites. And I am doing it, let me double check here. Oh, it's on a 40 count. Actually, it's beige. It's not linen, it's beige. Another one that's my favorite. I am doing it with the Call for Colors, DMC. And it's definitely staying. So far, we haven't come across ones that are going to go back into the kitted pile. They're most likely all going to be samplers, big samplers. Okay, the next one is a Stacy Nash, and it's the 12 Days of Christmas Sewing Roll. I love this. This is on a 30 count Weeks putty. It is another 2/2, but you needed to use the 30 count to get the size of the sewing roll. And this is my progress. And it only has, you know, a very few number of colors, but I love this. I love that color. The next one is Heartstring Samplery Hibernation Day. And this one, I'm on the fence on this one too. I have a good start on it. It's on a larger count. This is something that I hand dyed, and it's a 28 count cashel. This is the amount that I have stitched. I could actually very easily maybe cut this and restart it on something else. I've just not got back to it to make that decision. So right now it sits. I think this is really pretty, and it would finish big enough to put on a nice sled. So again, it's, you know, so many options, and I just haven't made a decision yet. I am doing it with the call for colors on that one. Next one here is Joyous Noel. You'll notice I have a lot of things in the sleeves, and that's my normal kitting up process. I always make a working copy because I do write all over these, and I use markers to mark off where I've stitched. So this is Joyous Noel. This is from Artful Offerings. I love her work. I love the simplicity of it. I think they're so pretty. This is being done, I think I got this as a kit, if I recall correctly. Did I get this as a kit? Yeah, this is being done on a 28 count cashel, which is not something I normally stitch on, but to get it to the size of the pillow, to make a pillow out of it, that's the appropriate size. So that's what it's being stitched on. Okay. Next one is Candy Cane Lane, and that is a Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread. I did buy this one as a kit at Farm Girl, and it is kitted up with a 40 count natural with a silver sparkle in it, and it's actually pretty easy to work with. I really haven't encountered any problems, but that's the tiny start I have. But I recall this was actually a significant amount of work. It is a 40 count, but it's a small 40 count. It might be like a 42 count. And I am doing the called for colors. Like I said, I bought it as a kit. Next one, another Brenda Gervais. This is Peace and Goodwill. Oh, there we go. Peace and Goodwill. I am doing this on, oh, it's a big piece too. I'm doing this on a Hazelwood by Fiber on a Whim. It calls for Tobias. I could not find Tobias when I wanted to start this. I looked everywhere. Could not find it. So my friend Linda had already stitched it, and she had stitched it on Tobias. So she looked through her linen, and she said, hey, Fiber on a Whim Hazelwood looks really, really close. So I ordered that, and that's what I started it on, and that's my start right there. And I have it at the call for floss. As I kind of go through these and make decisions about what I'm going to work on, one of the factors that's going to be really important is, can I free up a lot of floss, or can I free up the rest of the linen? You know, and I'm going to weigh that against how long it's going to take me and whatever else I'm stitching. But those are things that I'm thinking about. This one, I still haven't made the decision whether I'm going to restart it on something else. This is, I don't have the cover here. All I have is the chart. This is Merry Christmas Pin Keep. It's a Stacy Nash, and I'm doing this on a 32 count piece of linen that I hand dyed. At the time that I started it, I wanted something really kind of rustic looking. This is definitely rustic looking. I like that, and I wanted to make a large pillow out of it, but I've since, you know, I'm just not sure if I'm going to do that or not. And if I do decide to restart it, I'll probably pass that on to someone who might want to finish it. And I'm just stitching it in DMC 221. Next one, oh, I love this one. This one may make it back into my work basket just to work on because I love it so much. And it is Christmas in My Heart by Samplers Not Forgotten. I love this. I am doing it on a 40 count cedar plank, not a vintage. I very rarely get whatever the solid color of Lakeside. I usually get the vintage if I can. This one I just happened to get the regular, but I love it. It's so pretty. The colors on here just pop. The color is perfect. Cedar plank is one of my favorites as well. Cedar plank and tundra, but I think I like cedar plank better. I have a lot of things that have been stitched on it and a lot of things that are kitted with cedar plank. I didn't get any more than maybe one stitch session on this one this year. It's O Tannenbaum. I love this. I've had it kitted almost since I first started cross stitching, but I actually took the linen out of the kit. I didn't like the call for it. It was way too green, and I'm doing it on, I believe it's a 36 count bramble, and that's where I'm at. And I am doing it with the called for. This one, I have a couple of kitted things in here, but I'm only show you the thing that I'm actually working on. And that is Blessings. Yes, it's Blessings Be Thine. And it's out of a Blackbird book. I don't recall which one it's in right now. It's one of the older ones. And I'm doing this on a 28 count Lakeside linen vintage navy bean. And I'm using the called for colors. And I have this and a couple of other stitches all in this bag to go with a quilt that I also want to stitch. I kind of have this whole vision of how those will go together in a display in the French General Room. All right, what do I got here? Oh, this one. I really wanted to get some more done on this one, and it just didn't happen with everything going on in December, but it is Waiting for Christmas. And it's a very big stitch. It's a big stitch, 278 by 263. It's by Sarah Giamani, and I'm doing this on a 36 count vintage country mocha with the called for DMCs. You wouldn't think, it's almost kind of like full coverage. I mean, it's very motif dense and each motif is very detailed, but I love it. It's so pretty. Maybe, I think I might set that one out just to see if I can get one more house done. I'm gonna set that one out, set that one aside. Oh, this is a favorite, but it's another one. I know I'm not stitching on it because it's 2 over 2. However, I'm definitely not gonna give up on it. It's something I definitely want on my wall, and it is the Autumn Fractor by Plum Street. It's one of the very first things that I started stitching when I started stitching at the very end of, I believe it was 2017. I could barely see 28 count, and I think this one is a 28 or a 32 count. This is what I have done, 2 over 2. I believe this is a 28 count. It's not raw linen. What's the other one? The other one that's just a basic. I don't have it written down here. Maybe I do. Hold on here. Sorry for the zip. Nope, I don't have it written down. But it's one of the basic natural. Maybe that's what it is, natural. But those are the colors. Oops, sorry. Those are the colors. And it's so pretty, but I'm not stitching on it much because of the 2 over 2. You know, sometimes it's fun to do that. Sometimes it's easier on the eyes, but most of the time it's not my jam anymore. The next one I have is a Stacy Nash as the Crow Flies Pink Cube. I bought this as a kit. So it's all the called for, which is, I believe, like a 36 count Dames of the Needle, which is a cosmic platinum. It's a very unusual linen, but it's really, really cool. And this is, oops, let me get some behind it. This is my progress I will definitely be picking that up again, probably late summer when I start switching over into fall, because it's one that I would really like to have done, and it's a small. The next one is a Not Forgotten Farm, and it's Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. And here is my start, and I have this on a 36 count Weeks Dye Works beige, which I've mentioned is a favorite, and it goes really well with the colors, and I'm using all of the called for DMC. This is something I started this year, and I think when I started it and was talking about it, I gave you the wrong name of the chart, because there's several of these charts that are very similar. It's a Prairie Schooler, and I think I called it Village Green. It is not Village Green. It is actually Harvest Time, and this is my start. And all I have is my chart. I don't have the cover of this one. If I can find it easily, I will put it in here. But I am using all the called for DMC, and I'm doing this on a Picture This Plus vellum, which I talked a lot about in the fall, and actually even for my Christmas stitches. I wanted to find, for Prairie Schoolers specifically, I wanted to find a linen color that I could do them on that was a count that I like stitching on. So they're almost always a 36, some of them might be a 40, and colors that I could kind of stick to. So the vellum, there might be one other color for fall, and then Halloween was kind of bramble. And although I used bramble on a couple of Christmas, and Christmas ones are being stitched on fog. So it took me a while to get to that, but I feel really comfortable with those colors and those counts and that linen, because it's fairly ubiquitous to find, and the colors go really well. Okay, the next one is another 2/2 again, which is why it doesn't get much love. This is another Blackbird Designs, Away We Ride. This is my working copy. And here is my progress. And yes, my colors will look different than your colors. If you've watched me for a long time, you'll know my copy of Away We Ride, I don't know if it was a misprint. I don't know if that was how it was originally printed. It's an old copy, but the symbols on the border call for the mulberry instead of the gray. And I think what is now used is kind of that grayish taupe. I like it. I think it looks really cool. So also makes mine a little bit different than everybody's. So that's staying. The next one I have was a start, and again, I don't have the cover, but it's Pumpkin Seeds by Delaney Woods, and it's just a very, very tiny start. Not one that I'm going to put back into the kits. It's going to stay here. Actually, I think I am going to put this one back into what I would consider kitted. So you can mark that one down as one that's going back in the kits, because I literally have maybe 2 things of floss. So that's not going to be listed as a WIP anymore. It's going to be listed as a kit. I most likely will be picking it up next season though. The next one I have is a kit, a Dying to Stitch kit. So mine looks a little bit different than everybody else's. Let me see if I can get the original page pulled out here. So it is the first Winds of Autumn. This was originally a Dying to Stitch kit, and so it's all the call for everything. This is my start. Not a big start. I think this one is going to go back into my kitted as well, but I have everything there, so it will stay as a kit, and it's going to go back into my kits until I pull it out to actually work on it, and it will be a WIP. Next one is a Brenda Gervais, is A Witch in Her Garden. And I was really, I had a different finish that I was working on, and so this one did get all the love that it should have. These are really tiny stitches. I probably would have whipped it out and got it finished if I hadn't gotten distracted by Witches Go Riding by Prairie Schooler, which I finished last season. I have some needles in here. Not a good idea, but this is my start. Again, I'm trying to get you the right color. There we go. The next one is a Stacy Nash, and I don't have the cover. All I have is my chart in here, which is not unusual for me. And it is the Jack-o'-lantern Sewing Pocket Chatelaine, and that is my start. And I'm doing this on the called for, which is, I believe, a week's Havana. So whatever the called for, if I can get a picture easily, I will drop a picture in on this one. And I'm using the called for, it's just one color, and that is charcoal, week's charcoal. The next one is a Birds of the Feather, and it's the alphabet sampler. And I am doing this on a Weeks Dye Works Aspen. And I know I have some stitching to do. I was working on it towards the end of the season, and I think the last time I showed it, I noticed that I need to pull out some of these little berries. They needed to be in another color, but I'm using the called for Weeks Dye Works floss. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to get a drink of water, and I'm going to zip all of these up and put them back in the basket. And then we're going to move over to, I think the rest of what I'm going to look for, there might be some things snuck in there, but it will be more like spring, summer, Easter, miscellaneous, and samplers. General like reproduction samplers. So, okay, I'm back. As I suspected right off the bat, there was one Christmas WIP left that was stuck in the other bag, so I'm going to show that one to you. It's Christmas at Hollyberry Farm, and this is being done on one of my favorite linens. This is vintage pearled barley. It's going to have very narrow borders, but I'm okay with that. I frame most of my own stuff, and I can make it work, and that's where I'm at on that one. That one, the border's fiddly. It's not hard, it's just fiddly. You really have to pay attention. I really wanted to get some work done at this year, and with everything else, as I said, going on, I just did not get there. And these are the called for colors. Again, I am so sorry things are getting blown out here. Not really a true representation. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I think that is all of the Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving fall stitches. So that's going to go over here in this other box. Okay. The next one that I have is a Teresa Koga. It is Hope and Love. Hope never ends. Love never fails. We really need to hang on to that right now. This was it still is a fundraiser. You can go on Teresa's website, and I think the pattern is $10, but all the proceeds, all of them, go towards Lincoln Strong fundraiser, which is a little boy going through cancer that is a friend of the families of Teresa's. So it's a beautiful stitch. Several people have finished it. I have just gotten a few of the flowers started on here. I'm doing this on a 36 count piece of Country Mocha, and I'm using the call for DMCs. And it is really a lovely stitch, and I do soon as the weather changes. I'm still in Christmas mode, you guys. I didn't get enough. You saw some of the stitches that I pulled out at first. Those are the ones in my work basket. Those are ones that I might stitch on at least for a couple more weeks, maybe longer. These are not necessarily in season / sampler order. They're just as they come out of the box. This one, there is just no good reason that this is not finished, and it is, do I have the chart in here? I don't have the front of the chart. This is Honey Bunny, and I think it's our Artful Offerings. I have changed the colors a bit. I've lightened them up. It's a little bit more pastel-y. I did buy it as a kit, but the kit did not come with the floss. The kit came with just the backing right here. And if you want to know what the conversion is, I can tell you. I can look it up. I don't have it right here in front of me, or you can wait until it gets to be spring when I finish this, and I can tell you then. The next one I have, this was my Zoom stitch back in 2020, and I haven't stitched on it since we stopped Zooming. But I could probably tuck it into one of my one red threads. Like if I need to finish out a time period, it would be a good one. It's pretty wrinkly, apologize for that. But it's Leela Studio, and it's Anna Oman, 1873. And I'm not sure what I'm stitching this on. It looks like it might be an offcut of a Lakeside Linen, maybe vintage pecan butter. I'm not positive, but here, let me put something behind this. I am stitching it with a Verswa Surfine. This was gifted to me, so it's a 100 weight thread, super fine, way finer than the 103s, and I use it double on here, and it is just beautiful. The color is 648. This might even be a 45 count, 40 or 45 count, I don't recall, but it was my Zoom stitch. And yeah, I really should get back to that. I might put that in my one red thread rotation, as I said, when I need to kind of fill in, like if I finish near the end of the year with something and have some days left to use up. The next one is a start that I did at the retreat. This was a Dying to Stitch retreat. It was the last retreat that I went to where before when with both Barb and Alma, and it's it's part of the retreat kit, and it's called Home from the Sea, and it's a very tiny start, but it's a big enough start that I don't think I can put it back in my kits. And this is the start. I'm not even sure what part of the, oh, it's this way. No, that can't be right. I'm not positive, but this is being stitched on, I believe it's R&R, R&R Reproductions Vintage Honey, and so this is all, like I said, kit stuff. And that one, I think, needs to stay in the rotation. This one, I love this. I love the sampler. I think I might have to do a restart. I'm not positive, just because of how I placed it on the linen. I don't remember why I stopped stitching on it, but that might be it. This is a hand dye. When I hand dyed the linen for Winter Rose Manor, I hand dyed this as well, and I started both of them the same day. It's the same linen, so it's an over dyed that I did on platinum, so it's platinum, but then I over dyed it. And I got both of the charts. So it was a retreat with Brenda Gervais at Farm Girl Retreats, and this was the retreat piece, and it's Little Red House Sampler. It is so pretty. I haven't seen many people stitch this. I think that Kyle Reckemeyer, I think he finished it first before anybody did. He was at that retreat. And I have also stitched the little stitch that's on the back. So I have that one complete. That was also part of our box. But here is my start. I need to sit down and figure out exactly why I stopped working on this. But it is so pretty. And I love the border on it. I think it's so dainty and beautiful. But the whole stitch is just lovely. So that's staying. Even though it's kind of a small start, that is staying. So I got some things falling out here. The next one, this was also a retreat start. This came from Summer School 2021. Lisa and I went to that one together. And this is from Samplers Remembered. I don't have the chart in here. I'm not sure where the chart is. That might be why it's not finished. It's a very tiny, very sweet little sampler. Let me see if I can get something behind it here. What I have in here is the piece of linen and the floss. There's some silks in there. Look at this up close. Look at those tiny little white flowers. They're so pretty. I think that this was a section of the reproduction sampler that we also got at the retreat, but I don't have that in front of me. I have no idea where the chart went. So we'll have to figure that one out. The next one is a Blackbird Designs, and it is What Remains Is Love. It's a Blackbird design. I started this as a tribute to all the people that I've lost. And let's see, when did I start this? It would have been after, let's see, this was 2020. Probably, but I started this in 2021. All the people that I had lost in those 2 years to cancer. And I just, there was so many, it got overwhelming. And I kind of had to put it down because instead of being comforting, it was kind of, it wasn't comforting, but it's a beautiful stitch. I definitely want to finish it, and I will finish it. But the time needs to be right. I need to be able to pick it up at the right time. And unfortunately, there's more names to add to this, and I was going to put, their initials on here. So that's still my plan. But as I said, the time has to be right. It's a horrible, insidious disease, and yeah, it's important that we remember those that we've lost. The sentiment says it all. So I'm doing this on a 36 count Ren, and I am doing it with the called for floss. Next one is another retreat piece, and this was from Lori Markovic of La Di Da, and this was our retreat piece from Farm Girl Dry Goods from let's see, I'm not sure if the year is on here. It doesn't say. I don't remember. So I don't have the information. Let me open this up. Maybe it will be in here. I don't know what color the linen is. It's probably something that, something that Michelle dyed. So it's a 36 count called Gravel Road. It's really, really pretty. I really like this color. It's a nice neutral taupe. And this is the start I have on it. I do plan to change out some of the colors. I'll probably use floss that came with the kit, but not necessarily put the colors in the same places. I've got the floss here. So that will probably stay. I've got a fair amount, a good start on that one. This one I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I started it way back when I was first stitching, and I think this was probably one of my first 36 count pieces, and I miscut or maybe didn't measure correctly the linen size. And so it's the August Wordplay by With Thy Needle and Thread, and there's not going to be enough room for the little lady over here. I think what I might do is just add on a piece, because that's always kind of fun. Just add on a piece that's slightly a different color, and keep stitching and finish this, because I don't want to give up and have to, restart. So that's why that one hasn't been completed. I got all the way over there and I went, I can't believe you did that, Lori. This is a stitch that I started this fall, late in the fall, so I really didn't get much done before I moved on to Christmas stitching. And it is Summer Schoolhouse. I have the whole series. I plan on doing the whole series. And I am stitching this on, I'm not doing the call for. I am stitching it on, I'm still doing the 28 count Lagana, and I'm doing it over one, but I'm stitching it on light taupe versus, I think the call for is mushroom. This is one that I think I would normally, given the parameters that I gave earlier, I would have put this back in my kit, but I got it started and I really do want to stitch on it more. So it's not going back in the kit pile. It's staying in the WIP pile because I want to work on it. And that's my start. And I am doing all the call for colors. That's, I think, just the colors that I pulled for that particular. I think there's 4 charts, 4 or 5. But that is staying in the WIP pile because it is a work in progress and I plan on doing more on it. This, really need to finish this. I should have finished it this last summer and I didn't. And it's a tribute piece that I did for my grandmother, whose name was Ruby, and the chart's name is Roses for Ruby, which I thought was so appropriate because my grandmother loved roses. She worked for a time at Jackson and Perkins, also known as Bear Creek in Southern Oregon, which is where it's very famous for its rose bushes. And she had a lot in front of her house when I was very small. This is very wrinkly, so I apologize, but this is, oh, let me get something behind it. This is where I'm at. I'm pretty close to finish. This is one I need to absolutely get finished this year, soon. I did a color conversion, a floss conversion, not really a color conversion. I did a floss conversion where I pulled from Stash for a lot of my colors. If you're interested in what those colors are, most of them are Victoria Motto. Here they are. So I pulled the DMC equivalent and then I went through my Victoria Motto and pulled the colors. And I don't remember what the linen is that I used. I believe it's a Weeks, but I don't remember the color, so I will have to go look that up. But super close. That was a lot of confetti stitching, and I still have a lot of confetti stitching to finish that, but it's so pretty. Okay, so need to get that done. I think that's on my tentative list of things I want to knock out this year. Next one, I should get this out and put some stitches in it. And I love this one. There's nothing about this that I don't love. I love the fabric that I chose. I love the chart. And it just kind of gets lost in the shovel. And it's a small stitch, so I should just get it done. This is the Kingsford sampler. And it is Carriage House samplings. I love this kind of art. I love these stitches. Kathy Barrick, Carriage House, all of that. They do a wonderful job with these. I have several charts of theirs that I eventually want to do. And it fits in the arts and crafts style, the style that I have here. So I'm doing this on, I don't think the linen has a name. Do I have it here? Actually, it does. It's when Jukas X Ju Designs, when she first started dyeing, I bought several pieces from her. And she really didn't have standard colors at that time. And she sent me a couple of samples. This was a sample. This is a 32 count Lugana and it is called Old Linen. So I don't know if it's one that that she still does, but I love this color. And here's my stitching on it. It is, am I doing 1 or 2? I can't tell. I don't have my glasses on. I think I'm doing it 1/2, even though it's a 32 count. Let me look closer. I think I am doing 1/2. Yeah. So yes, no good reason that I'm not working on this. So I think I'm going to pull this out. I have assignments that I want to finish, and I have, you know, a week or so to finish them. And I don't think I'm going to be pushed for time to do that. I think I'm going to finish them in time. So maybe I'm going to leave this one out and see if I can get some stitches put in on this one. I'm getting a growing pile over here of things. The next one is another la-di-da. It's called Peaceful Ways. I don't have the cover here, unfortunately. It's an old pattern by Lori Markovic. So if I can find a picture of it, I will put it up here. I am doing this. This is my first thing that I ever tried on a 46 count, and I'm doing it with silks. I'm not using the call for, I was using silks. And it's a very sweet, small, tiny sampler. And I am doing this on a 46 count vintage Meadow Rue that I bought at Stitchville, which means this, I probably purchased this in 2018. I think that's when 46 was starting to kind of really come to the forefront. But it is very pretty. And yeah, should get that done. I'm an expert now at 46. This one is a tight 46 too, though, I will tell you. I remember that. Okay, the next one. This one I'm kind of on the fence about. I really want to finish it. I really would like to have it on my wall. I know I'm going to modify it, but it is so pretty. I think I'll probably make a decision about it. Sorry, the hair gets in the way. I think I'll make a decision about it once I get my room painted and I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do for samplers that I want on the wall for the spring and summer months for my bedroom, because I think that's where this is going to go. But what I'm talking about is Innocence 1880. I was going to stitch it just the way it showed, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave the verse out, and I'm going to move this up. And I don't know if I will do this part right here or this part right here, but I am going to like move everything up, and I'm going to modify it quite a bit. I am doing it with the call for colors, which are gorgeous. And I'm stitching this on a 40 count. I think this is a 40 count. Do I have it on here? This is either a 36 or a 40 count. Picture This Plus Dapple. And that's my start. So not a very large start, but it is so pretty. So pretty. So for now, it's going to stay in the WIP rotation, even though it's only a very small amount. And I need to sit down and figure out where it will go in my room, how I'm going to frame it, and what kind of modifications I'm going to make. Okay, we're going to get into... I have a lot of Blackbird designs where I probably got them at a retreat or they were part of a club, and I put like a few strands in, and I'm torn. I don't know whether to put these back in my kits, which is kind of where I think they should go until I'm ready to stitch them, or whether I keep them in my WIPs. But I'm going to show them to you. So one of them is The Winter Is Past. And I love this one. A lot of these things, I keep telling you guys, I'm not a blue girl. I really am not. I like certain shades of blue a lot, but in general, I'm not like a baby blue, navy blue, general blue color. I like London Blue Topaz. That's one of my favorite colors. And I like kind of maybe Cadet Blue is a good color. I was just looking through these blues to see if I could show you. Like the Deep Sea Blue, I like that. That's not a navy. It's got more, I'm not sure what other color it's mixed with that really makes it the blues that I like. But anyway, I have the call for colors. I'm doing this on the call for, I believe it is, this calls, yeah, Oaken. This is on Oaken, 36 count Oaken. This is all I have. And it's very pretty. And I want to have this. I think there are going to be a lot of Blackbirds hanging in my room now that I'm kind of changing my room over. But I think until I'm ready to sit down and put significant work on these, which I might make those decisions this summer, I think this is going to go back in the kit pile because it just doesn't have enough on it to really call it a WIP. The next one is, and there's more coming, there's just not in that order. The next one is Jane Plinderleith, 1838, and this was a schoolgirl from Country Sampler, Schoolgirl Club kit. And I have a good start on that. I think this is being done on, let me look at the chart here. See if it tells me. It does not, because this is working copy. I'm pretty sure this is a week's straw. This is my start. The colors are phenomenal. These are the call for colors. It is so pretty. I don't think I've seen this done. If anybody has seen this done, like on Instagram or maybe a Flosstuber who has completed it, would you drop me a note down below if you've done it or you know someone who has? I'd like to see this done, but it is so pretty. And I'm pretty sure that's on a 40 count. That was the very first thing I picked up after not stitching for almost a year when I was going through cancer and cancer treatment. The next one is a stitch I'm doing for my granddaughter. I really need to finish it before she, graduates from college. She's 14, so I have a little bit of time, but you know how fast that goes. And I think it will be fine. I think this is still would be beautiful in any young lady's room. And it is from Madame Chantilly, and it's Noche de Stelle. I think it's Night of Stars is how that translates. And I think that is so pretty. I am doing this on Silvery Moon. No, it's not Silvery Moon. I know what Silvery Moon looks like, and that's not Silvery Moon. Flax. That's the color I couldn't think of earlier. Remember when I was saying it was one of the natural colors? It was flax. So this one is on a 36 count flax. Don't those poppies just look awesome? The colors, everything here, just beautiful. So I'm doing this on 36 count flax. And while I don't have any plans to pull it out, in the next 2 or 3 months, I really should. Her birthday is in February. Definitely can't get it done by her birthday. So maybe it might be a Christmas present. Maybe this coming year, that might be something to put on my to-do list. I don't like things on a to-do list like this because then it implies a deadline. I don't know what I would call it, but when I have that kind of deadline, I worked my entire career on deadlines. I worked in the legal field, and then I was a project manager, and then I was a project management office director. Everything was deadline. I don't want to do deadlines anymore. They aren't my jam anymore. I'm liking not having deadlines. Okay, we're back to a couple of Blackbird designs where I just have a few stitches in that I'm pretty sure I'm going to put these back into my ready to go kits. Ready to go so much that they're partially started. Okay, the first one is Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. And this, I'm pretty sure I got completely kitted. And I'd say it has maybe 2, maybe 3 lengths of thread in it, and it's done on the called for picture this plus ale, but that's the start. I have no idea whether that's going down the side or across the top. But that one is going to go back into my kit, in the kits, the kit collection. And the other one that's in this very same bag, and the reason I put them both in the same bag is they have several of the colors were exactly the same, so I kept them together. The other one is Oh Joyous Day. And believe me, ladies and gents, I really want these on my walls, but I kind of have to figure out what the priority is. Because, you know. So this one is Oh Joyous Day. And this one is also on a 36 count oaken. I have a little bit more done on this one, but if I recall correctly, there's a mistake in here, even as I started to do the border. And I'm definitely going to have to count it out. I think I started, oh, I've got 2. So I think I started the wrong direction or something. So I know when I get back to this, I'm going to have to be really careful, count things out, make sure I'm not getting myself in a fix. And then here's the colors. So that one's going back into the kits as well. I would love to do your Blackbird. Several years ago, gosh, it probably was the same year that we went and saw Barbara. Lisa and I had talked about doing a year Blackbird as far back as then. But then, you know, the whole world changed. I think it was probably 2019, 2020, 2019, I think. Anywhoosie. The next one, this is one that's definitely going to get brought out soon as I kind of change over from winter to spring stitching, because I am so close. And that is Cherry Hollow Farm Sampler by Stacy Nash. And I mean, come on. What's the problem here? I know the problem is I did a lot of finishes, a lot of stitching on a lot of finishes during the spring and summer of 2025. And I wanted to get this one done, but other things got done instead. So really close, need to get that done. And I think I have a bottom border to stitch in there, and then the rest of it's mostly the house. I mean, there's the, you know, those very sparse motifs there, and I think a little dog, but the majority is really what's left is the border and the house. And I can whip through fill in, no problem. It goes pretty fast for me, which is kind of why I've gotten into the habit where I will do an outline and then just do fill in, because I can crank through the fill in really fast. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? We're there's some more bunny stitching. I like doing bunny stitching. I think there's at least one small that I'm probably gonna start this spring. That's a bunny stitch that I've put off for a couple of seasons, but I have other bunny stitching that I need to finish up. I need to finish up Honey Bunny. I don't plan on finishing this year, but I'd like to get some more work on it, and that is 2 Rabbit Sampler. I really like that one. This is on Weeks Straw. It's the old. I don't mind stitching on it anymore. I really struggled with it in the beginning, but I've learned how to dance with it, so we are copacetic. I do like this Zweigart though. It's just a little bit harder to find. So this is what I have started, and I really like that. I like the colors on this one. So there's a lot of blue and brown together, which I think is a great color combination. And I have all the called for DMC. Okay, let's set these aside. And I have one more big stack here, and then I have some samplers that are hung up, and we're getting close. We're like 2/3 of the way through. Okay, hopefully I won't bounce the camera here. Okay, the next one is a Teresa Kogut that I started last spring, and this is going to go in the cottage bedroom. I love this one. Teresa, she showed it in her last video. She had started it on a light fabric, and then she restarted it on a dark fabric. I think I'm not sure which dark fabric she started on, but it looks fantastic on both. It was so funny because we were at a girls' weekend last spring, and she said she had seen me started it, so she started it, and then she restarted it, and we both brought it to our girls' weekend unbeknownst to each other. Both of her versions were beautiful. This version I think is beautiful. I have changed a few of the colors, but not significantly. I might have went up or down a shade. And it's not released yet as far as I know, but it's called Spring Manor, and it was from Patreon of March 2024. And it's just a beautiful spring chart. You've got your little eggs down here. You can put it out, early in Easter, early spring. This is going to go, as I said, in the cottage bedroom. And so I have all the call for pulled, but like I said, I might have went up or down a shade just for my linen that I'm using, which looks like a Picture This Plus, but I'm not positive. Not positive on this one what my linen is. If you need to know, I can go look it up. Oh, we've got that dreaded glare going on here. It kind of looks like it might be a wren. There we go. This is so pretty. The colors actually remind me a lot of some of the older color combinations for Blackbird design. Probably is why it jumped out and spoke to me as well. But there's just so much to love in this stitch. So that's definitely coming out again in when we get to spring stitching. The next one, and this one's also one that I know I'm definitely going to be working on this year. I've got a good start on it. And let's see, let me pull it out here. And that is Every Opening Flower. And that is also a Brenda Gervais. And I am doing this on a 36 count Picture This Plus vellum, one of my go-tos. And I'm using all the called for except for the Mountain Mist. I have substituted Coastal Seaweed by Victoria Motto, and as far as I know, she is not dyeing that color anymore, but it is really pretty. There we go. I think I'm gonna have to do all of them like this. So I have a good start. I have upper left corner done, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to this one. The next one is another Brenda Gervais, Summer at Cherry Hill. And I have a goodly amount done on this one too. I need to knock it out, but there is an immense amount of stitching in this one. So I have the dress done, but even that tree trunk and the pomegranate and the grass, yeah, there's a lot going on here. I am doing this on a Lakeside Linen Vintage Buttercream. This is a 40 count, I believe. I'm gonna hold it up here. I've got a hanging thread, and this is where I'm at. This one is so cute. It's so pretty. You get to the point where you have all these lovely things that you've started or you want to start, and then you have 20 different things that you want to stitch on, but you don't have 20 different hands to do it with. I'm kind of at that point, but it's not a bad problem to have. Not going to complain. I'm not complaining about that at all. Just kind of stating the obvious. The next one I have is Mary Amelia's Bird, and this is something you can get as a digital download from Quaint Rose Needle Arts. When it first came out, everybody and their sister were stitching on that. I am doing mine on one of my own hand dyes, and I have, you know, a good portion. I have the bird mostly done, but I've got a lot of floral to go, and it's pretty confetti heavy. And I think when I was stitching on it, I love it. I just kind of got to the point where I needed a break from the confetti, and I haven't went back. But I have a lot of bird stitches that are very similar to this that I want to work on, but I want to get this one done first, and it is intended to go in my room, my bedroom. Okay. The next one is one I really, again, need to get back. I think it is definitely on my list of things to try to knock out this year. Remember, I'm only stitching on things that I love, but I really want to get this done. This is a companion piece to something I've already stitched, and I'm stitching this for the patriarchal line for my son. It's going to have his name on it and some of his ancestors, and it has a whole story behind it, which I will explain when I get done. But the stitch is Butternut House Pin Keep. I will share a little bit. So his family, the patriarchal line of his family goes all the way back to pre-revolution. His however many times great-grandfather is well documented in the pages of history. And they lived in a place during the Revolutionary War. There was a tavern there called Liberty Tavern. I can't remember exactly. It was a town in Philadelphia, I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I have it all written out somewhere. But what I'm going to do, because all of the men in my son's line, they all have the same initials, MJM. So it would have been really kind of useless to put a whole bunch of MJMs on this for the initials. So I'm going to put MJM in a couple of places, but I'll just put the story on the back. And instead of Butternut House, I'm going to put Liberty. What was I going to put? Liberty something, but I will, when I get back to it, I will explain it further. But it's, like I said, Butternut House Pin Keep. Here's where I'm at. His middle name is going to go here. His middle name is Justice, and which is why that's open. And then I need to rechart the other names that I'm putting on there. It's also 2/2, which is why it hasn't really received any attention for a while. Okay, this one's also going back into the rotation. I would like to get a finish on it this year, unless something wonderful pops up, but I really want to finish it, and that is Jack's Bash by Plum Street. I've got a goodly amount done. This is being done on 36 count Bramble, and I'm using all the called for colors, and this is where I'm at. I don't know if I'm going to be doing all of that over one verse or if I'll put something else in there. I'll make that decision when I get there. I do not mind doing over one, not in the least. It would be more of a time thing, and if it's really what I want. So the next one that I'm going to show you is, again, one of my very favorite fall pieces that I really would like to get done. It's Friends of the Heart. It's Plum Street, and it is so pretty. The colors are just fantastic. And I am doing this on, let me get something behind it. I'm doing this on a 36 count Wren, and I have a good start on it. There we go. It's so beautiful. I can just see it here in the great room. I think it would be so pretty. I have, let me think, I have Real Comfort, which is a Stitch Intense, another Plum Street, a Stitch Intense. This one, you know, I think those are pomegranates as well. You know, they have a good amount of stitching in them, and then the heart will be a lot of stitching too, but hopefully I can get some work done on this one this year. I don't know if I'll finish it. By the time I get to fall, I will be really close to a finish. If everything goes as planned, I'll be very close to a finish on Real Comfort, and I might have time to do some focus stitching on another piece, and hopefully this might be the one. I haven't worked on it in a couple of years, so I'd like to get some work done on it. Okay, let's see. This is, oh, here's another one that snuck into the wrong box. I have several Teresa Kogets that are winter kitted right here, but this one is a good start. I have a good start on it, so it doesn't go back in the kit pile, but this one is Warm and Cozy Winter. Look at that snowman. I don't believe this has been released. It's a Patreon chart from December 2023. That little snowman on the deer is so darn cute. And I am doing him on Picture This Plus Dapple. I believe this is a 36 count. I think Dapple is a great linen for winter stitches. It's pale enough that it doesn't read, you know, too blue. It does definitely have a blue undertone. It's kind of a blue-gray. I love this color. And it really, all the whites and the reds just pop on it. So if I had time right now, I might pull this out and do some stitching on it while it's still winter. Usually by the time I get to mid-February, I'm ready for spring, and I start spring stitching because, you know, it's cold and wintry here, and I really am looking forward to spring. I usually start changing my seasonal stitching when I'm longing for whatever the next season is. Okay, this was a birthday start a couple of years ago. I'm stitching this with Katie of So Tattered. I have no idea where you're at on this, Katie. It kind of fell by the wayside because I started stitching on other things, but it is the Isabella Johnston sampler by Needlework Press. That is the original sampler. I would like mine to look something like that. I am stitching this on a 36 or 40 count. Oh my gosh, where's all my, oh, I know where the silk for this is all in my 'Tis the Season, because all of the colors that I needed came out of this one. I was going like, where's all my silk? I'm stitching this on a 36 or 40 count Fox and Rabbit Saltbush, which I think is perfect. This is going to go in my bedroom, and I'm using all the Call for Silks, and I love this. This is so pretty. Samplers for me, I don't do sampler September because I am totally deep into fall stitching. Fall stitching and Christmas stitching are kind of neck and neck for me about what my favorite seasons to stitch are. For me, samplers are really more for all the months that are not seasonal. So February is a good sampler. I like Valentine stuff, and I have about 6 different Brenda Gervais charts that are all Valentine, which I really want to stitch, but it's such a short season. I usually go right from Christmas, winter, right into spring, and so they don't get done. One of these days I know they will, because I have a lot of smalls that I'd like to get done, but yeah, it's samplers for me are kind of a finding the place to do them feels a little bit hard. Okay, I don't have the cover for this one, but it is a guide to the sampler, and the designer is the City Stitcher, and I'm stitching this with Olivia B. She is a lot further than me. If I can find a picture, I will put it up here. If not, next time I pick it up, you'll be able to see it. But I'm doing this on a 36 count Country Milka, and that's going to be a great, big, beautiful pumpkin colored house. And there's a sunflower that looks over it from either side. Doing it with the called for DMCs, which are right here. It's a beautiful late summer, early fall stitch. So if you want to see one that's a lot further along, go look at Olivia's, I think her last video, I think she showed it. Okay, the next one, this one I started a while back, and I love this one. But again, it's a sampler, so it doesn't, sometimes, you know, they get by the wayside because they fall in between seasons for me. The last year or two, maybe, I was heavy into doing stitches for the cottage. So I had a lot of spring and summer. I don't know how many strawberry stitches, both pin pillows and bigger stitches that I did this last year for the cottage bedroom. But it was a lot, which is why other things kind of did not get the attention. But this one, this is a scattered seed sampler. And it's a reproduction, and it's Catherine Dickinson, 1840. This is so pretty. Look at those colors. These are the colors. I love this. I cannot wait to have this one done, and I think it was going to look beautiful hanging up in here. But I just need to figure out how to fit those samplers in so I can get some samplers in. You're going to see some big samplers, big samplers come up here in the rotation shortly. And yeah, I need to figure out how to make that work. Oh, here's my, oh, you know what that is? That is not Havana. This actually is a piece of vintage autumn gold, which is a double dye from Lakeside. Nearly impossible to find. I bought this on my first trip ever to the attic several years ago. Okay. Next one. Now this one, let's see, I think I need to put this in my kits because I'm going to restart it. I don't have a lot stitched on it, but I stitched it the wrong direction on the linen. And it is Heart and Hand by Brenda Gervais. I have the called for linen, which is 35 count dove, right here, 35 count dove. And I think I stopped because I had started stitching it the wrong direction. So it's fully kitted, right? I was stitching on it, but I need to restart it. So I'm probably going to turn the linen around and I'm going to restart it. So this is going to go back into the kits because technically if I'm restarting it, I don't have any stitching done on it. So it's going to go in that pile over there. Here's another one that I really, really want done, but it's 2/2, and I'm not wild about doing 2/2 anymore. This is on a piece of hand-dyed linen that I hand-dyed. I called this burnt butterscotch? No, burnt brown butter. This is a natural dye, so I didn't use any like store-bought dyes. This is dyed using turmeric and tea. And if you're interested, maybe someday I'll walk through how to do that one. But I love this color. It is a beautiful kind of harvesty gold. And this is Three Lilies by La-Di-Da. And I really want this done, and I would love to have it hanging here in the great room because it's very arts and crafts looking. So again, it's a sampler. I just need to figure out how to fit those in my rotation on a regular basis, which will never be Sampler September. I guess I need to figure out what those months are. As I said, maybe February, to work on samplers. Okay. I have a few more here that I need to show you. I'm going to pause and I'm going to do some zipping and rearranging, and I will be back in a moment. Okay, I think all the rest of my WIPs or WIPs to kits are, they're all samplers. Many of them are very large samplers. This is where we're going to have the most conversation, I think. So the very first one is definitely a biggie, and that is, I'm not even going to take it out here. It's Ann Dale, big and beautiful, says it all, Ann Dale 1827. And I have this completely kitted up with the called for floss and the called for linen, lakeside linen. And it's not an insignificant amount of floss. It's a lot of floss. I really want to do this one. I really would love to have this on my wall. Lisa, my friend Lisa Kinder Stitcher, was stitching on this one when she was here staying with me when I was recovering from treatment, cancer treatment. And she stitched a good portion. So I was watching that one come alive, and hers is absolutely stunning and beautiful. I don't know if she has this one already framed or if it's one of the framed pieces she's waiting to get back. I don't recall. I think she has this one already framed. She did hers on kind of it was a lakeside, but it was more of a light minty green. I have the called for lakeside linen vintage pear right here. I even have some needles in there, and that's my start. Now, it's showing up more kind of gray green here on the camera. It is not. It is, there we go. It is the true vintage pear color. And I'm pretty sure this is a 40 count. And I have a fat half. It's ginormous. The problem is, and I like the color. I like this color. I think it's really pretty. The reds and the whites, they just pop off that green. My dilemma is this color just doesn't go anywhere in my house at all. And I'm debating, not an enormous start, I am debating restarting this on a different color. And if I do, I will probably sell this piece of linen, because I know there are a lot of people out there who would never be able to get a hold of it. And this is, I bought this in 2017, 2018. I know it's really hard to find. Like I said, I just don't know that the linen really goes with anything. But I haven't completely made that decision yet. If I do change, I would probably go to something more on the gray side or the gray-green side. I think that would be just as lovely. I've seen it done on those colors, and I think it's really pretty. It's not anything I'm going to pick up again soon. I have other samplers that are large that I would like to complete before I really, kind of put my heart into this one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back into the kit pile. Actually, I'm going to technically put it in the kit pile. I'm going to hang this back up in my closet because this is a big chunk of linen. But, I'd love to hear from you guys and, to tell me what you think. What would you do if it was yours? Would you move forward with it? Even, if you loved the colors, even if it didn't match, would you still move forward with it? Or would you step back and maybe rethink it? Some of the reason that some of these things are kind of going by the wayside is because I started them when I lived in a different house, and where I'm at now, different style, etc. Not to say that somewhere down the road I might be moving into another different house. I don't plan on it, but you never know, what would happen. yeah, just tell me what you would do in this situation. So I'm going to technically put it back on the kit list because there's not a whole lot done. I should probably take those needles out. And I am going to keep it kitted though, because even though that's a lot of floss to keep out of my stash, I know that it's there. Normally I would maybe just pull the floss and put it all back in. And I may do that eventually. I may make that decision, but right now it's going to stay with that. Totally breaking all the rules I made for myself. But you know, it's a hard thing to do, to kind of back out of something that was big of a commitment. Okay, the next one, this is one I would really like to spend some time on. I love everything about this this stitch. It's Sarah Casey Unwin, and it's by Chessie and Me. I started this about the same time that Christy of Daisy K Primitives started hers. She's been done for a long time. I haven't gotten any further, but I love this stitch. I'm doing this, I think this is on a Cocoa. No, this is on a Color and Cotton Havana. So their Havana, it looks nothing like Weeks Havana. It looks more like Cocoa. Let me get something behind it and do the tilt. So yeah, there's the color. Here's where I'm at. I have the bones of the border completely done. It matched up. The colors look fantastic on this. I love this. Going back to my previous comment, I just need to figure out and pick a time when I can focus on samplers, on big samplers. You know, maybe it's a day of a month, or a couple 3 days of the month. Maybe Sampler Sunday. I don't know. Ooh, that's a thought. Sampler Sunday or Sampler Saturday. Sampler Sunday sounds better though. So, I'll have to give that one some thought. If you have ideas, definitely share them with me. Don't hog all the good ideas. Here's another one. I love everything about this. And I have it kitted up in the silks. So my first and only attic retreat, I've been to the attic several times, and sometimes during other retreats that weren't at the attic but were in the location. I have this kitted up with the Call for Glorianas, and this is D Free Tag 1849 by Wendy From the Heart Needle Art. I love this. This was a featured sampler when we were there. Funny story. So Wendy was sitting at our table, and even though we had chatted, and she said her name was Wendy, I was not connecting the dots. And so we did our first trip to the store, and I had stood in line for like an hour and a half, and it's 99 degrees and whatever. So I got through the line and I sat down next to the featured. They kind of have a feature table. It's not necessarily the designers that are at that schoolhouse, but feature designer, and it was Wendy. And so I sat down, and right next to me was this sampler. And I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. So I picked it up, got back in line, kitted up the whole thing. And I was telling everybody at the table my tales of woe of how I was standing in line for so long, and it was so hot, and blah, 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 blah. Never knowing that was the Wendy that was sitting at my table. She was so very gracious. Very nice, sweet person. Anyway, here's where I'm at on this sampler. And it's a big girl. I mean, it's not as big as Ann Dale, or even not as big as Sarah Casey Unwin, but it's nothing to sneeze at. Let's see if I can get that in there better. There we go. And I love it. And it's in silks, and it's everything I love about a sampler. Oh, and this is Wendy's table gift. It goes beautifully with the bag that I made to go with this sampler. So again, need to find the time. Okay, let's see what we got here. This one I know is definitely going back into the kit pile. I love this one, and I may even change the linen on this. I have a beautiful piece of Lakeside Vintage Tundra. This is the Vintage Tundra. This is a 40 count. And I picked that linen because my favorite stitcher, Miss Carol Saltbox, she stitched it. Maybe it isn't Tundra. It says it's cedar plank. That doesn't look like cedar plank. It's very green for a cedar plank. So I misspoke. It is 40 count vintage cedar plank. But I picked that color because Carol Saltbox had stitched hers on it, I believe. And she was stitching on it at retreat, one of the retreats that we were both at. So maybe I'll leave it. But that's my pitiful little start. So maybe 2, maybe 3 lengths of floss. And I love it. I want this on my wall. It's going to go beautiful in here. Oh, sorry, it took me this long. Red Deer sampler. I want this on my wall. But I think for these big samplers, I don't want a lot of them just hanging there waiting for me as a WIP. I feel better if they're waiting for me as a kit. And I know I can just pick up and go with them, but I'm going to try to either stitch my WIPs down or something to where I only have, 3, 4 of these big ones at most, preferably less, to stitch on. So I'm not like stressing over. Not that I stress a whole lot, but I take a look at my list and I just go, and then I go back to stitching a small or something like that. I want to be able to manage my time better. I've got the called for, and I think I have a couple of Victoria Motto in there. I may go back and pull the called fors. But really, really focusing kind of like what Lisa does. It wouldn't be quite her style, so I think she rotates like 3. Well, maybe that's a good idea. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to put some back into my kits, and then when I go to pull a sampler, then I can focus on that sampler and get a significant amount done. Okay, next one. Sorry, I'm reaching here. Some of these I really, really want to spend time on. I don't think there's any super big ones left, although they're not small, but they're big enough. Sorry about the zip. I didn't unzip these. The next one that I would really like to get done, this one will go faster simply because it's just open motifs and a little bit of over 1 stitching. I'm not sure if that's even over 1. It's the Little Busy Bee. I have not seen a lot of people work on this, but I absolutely love this sampler. Now, I believe that they kind of cleaned up the antique sampler a bit when they charted it. And here it is. It's the Busy Bee. So it has a cartouche. I'm not sure if that's over 1 or over 2 stitching in the middle of the cartouche, but it's just simply, several motifs and a pretty border. I have started the border, and I am doing this on a hand dye by Stephanie that I bought at the attic my very first trip. I was totally fascinated with this fabric. I don't know if she dyes this color still. Do I have a tag for it? It's called Dried Thistle, and it's a 40 count. But I picked this up and I just loved it, even though the dye is really splotchy. I think it's beautiful. So this one, the sampler will come down to right about here, so that when I want to, and I want something that has a lot of variegation, I will have that left over. But I love this color. There's like golds and a kind of an undertone of some pink blotches and some light blotches and some dark. There's like veining of green. It is just the most beautiful fabric ever. I love it. Super unique. And I am doing the call for. Here they are. So those pinks and those olivey greens on that gold, oh, it's just so pretty. So, so pretty. Would love to get more work on this one done. It's hard to choose, isn't it? Hard to choose what to work on. And I kind of follow my gut feeling, my instinct, or my vibe, whatever you want to call it. I kind of follow whatever I'm feeling at the time. This one is a little bit smaller. It is every bit as beautiful. When I say a little bit smaller, it's still 239 by 239. This is a scattered seed, and it's Mary Wood, 1837. So, so pretty. And what am I doing this on? This has very few colors. I know it has more than what I have right here, but this is a 45 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Sand Dune. And there's the color. That's pretty spot on. But look at those colors. Look how they pop. That red and green pop on there. This is not a Christmas, but it kind of reads as Christmas, doesn't it? I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if I will stitch the verses on here. I might fill something else in, or I might, no, I like those birds. I definitely am not putting Adam and Eve on there. I'm not a people. I don't mind it a whole lot, but I'm just not an Adam and Eve. They're funny looking. So I don't know. I might kind of do some rearranging on this sampler when I get to working on it. I am using, it's not quite the call for, it looks like I have, yeah, these are both Victoria Mottos. So I'm using these two Victoria Mottos. I think there is 3 more colors that I need to pull, more of the golds and the browns for this one. And I have enough there that this is going to stay in my WIP pile. Okay, let's put this one down here. Uh-oh, I've got a loose thread over here. Another one that has fallen into the it's 2/2 category, but boy, I wish I could have it done, is Ida Nolt Revisited. Again, this is by Hands to Work, and I don't have my color copy. This is my working copy. Very arts and crafts looking, and I am doing this on, I think this is Cappuccino. Yeah, so this is a Weeks Dye Works Cappuccino, probably a 32 count. And I like the size. I'm definitely not starting it over. I have the border finished on this one, but this is what I have done. Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? And it calls for, I think what I did is I'm using all of the DMC. It called for needlepoint silk, but I'm doing all the DMC, and I think they're gorgeous. I don't think it could be any prettier with these colors than with the silk. Those colors are so pretty. And again, it will look fantastic in here once it gets done. So that one's going to stay in the WIP pile. And we've got one more here. And this one, kind of bending the rule a little bit, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put it back in the kit pile, even though I have more than 2 or 3 threads in. And that is Jane Cowie. And I am doing this on, I think this is a Lakeside. I'm not positive. Let me see if I've got a tag here. Yes, it is a Lakeside. And it is Vintage Meadow Rue. 46 count Vintage Meadow Rue. And this is my start. I stopped stitching this because I was not wild about the colors of this. I think those are strawberries. They're very orangey and corally. And I I just did not like that. So I went and I have it kitted up in silks. So I went and picked out some new silks for the border. I think I picked out some new reds. Yeah, so I picked out these colors instead of the coral orange. This was, I think, the color that I was trying to get away from. I might still use that one in other places, but not the border. But I'm going to put this back in the kits because this is a stitch that's going to take significant focus, even to get a little bit of it done. So it's going to stay kitted up with the silks, and I'm just going to fold it up and put it in my kit pile and call it one of my ready to go WIPs because I've got a good start on it. If it lingers too many more seasons, a couple more seasons, I might de-kit it, and because that is vintage meadow rue, and you know, put the silks in my stash and reuse the vintage meadow rue. But for right now, it's going to stay kitted, but it's going to come out of my WIP list, and it's going to go into the kit list. I think that's it, everybody. That's a lot. So I've counted it out. It's actually an even 10 that I pulled out of my WIPs and put into my kits. I have a list here of all of my WIPs before I did this process, and that means I have 84 WIPs. I'm definitely okay with that. I have about a dozen things that I have marked that I'm either going to work on or that I want to finish. Now, some of them I know I'm not going to finish this year, but they're big and they're stitches that I'm going to work on. But this is, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say them on the video because every time I do, I jinx myself. So I'm just going to say I have about a dozen things that I have highlighted that I'm probably going to work on. And several of them I plan to finish. Some of them are very small, or they have like between 85 and 90% done. There's a couple of big ones that I hope I can get done, but I may not, and I won't be terribly upset. I'm looking here. There's a needle book, one sampler, 2 winter, 2 summer, 2 reproduction samplers, but they're smaller, and a Halloween, 2 Halloweens that I want to get done. And then, so I actually have to back that up. So what did I say, 84? I actually have 85 because I have a secret stitch that I'm working on that I can't show or really talk about too much other than to say it's a secret stitch. I don't have a deadline. I don't even have a self-imposed deadline, but it's one that I'm working on. So 85 WIPs, and that's a lot. And I know I'm going to be starting new things. That's okay. I know I'm going to change my mind on some of these things. That's okay. But you know, give me some feedback. Tell me what you would do in my dilemma. Number 1 about Andale, and number 2, really how you would fit doing samplers. Again, not sampler September. I'm doing fall. Fall is one of my favorite seasons, and that's just not a good time. February seems like a good time. March, I'm kind of going into spring and summer stitching, although I don't have as much this year. So maybe March, April. March, April is usually bunny season, but I only have one planned that I'm going to work on. Anyway, give me your thoughts. Of course, all of this gets changed as soon as things come out at market. I know of a couple pieces that I'm waiting for to come out at market, but I don't have any plans on starting them soon. But there's definitely a couple from Teresa Vanette, Kitten Stitcher / Shakespeare's Peddler. And then there's one from my good friend Kimberly Nugent, Samplers Not Forgotten, that I am looking forward to purchasing and having on my list to maybe start this coming Christmas season. Yeah, there's a lot out there. So thank you so much. If you're still with me, kudos to you. It's a long video. I'm sure it's going to be a long video. And thanks a lot for hanging out with me and kind of going through the WIPs and figuring out, processes and that sort of thing. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple, 3 weeks. And I'll talk to y'all then. Bye-bye.